Hi, Patty. No. That's the, Catherine, that's the Zoom. It just ding dong. So what you have for dinner, Patty? Oh, I can't hear you. There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah. What happened?
Oh, I don't know what it is with my camera, but if I don't unplug
Look, it just cut out again.
Well,
It just cut out again.
it's weird because my mic shows it's working.
Okay. Well, now you're back.
Yeah. Hey, you should be so lucky, huh?
Yeah.
I did get most of the dust off, but I walked into the studio. My husband said, "You're carving in black?"
Yeah. Not a good idea.
My oldest baggy pants and an old long sleeve Northwest Stone Sculptors t-shirt. Why do we do them in black? I've always wondered. That seems to be a popular color, but I must have 8 of them that are black or navy blue.
So are you running the meeting or is this just open?
It's just open. Either Renee or Cyra
Okay.
or possibly Ellie.
Yeah, it looks like Ellie was the host when I hit it. So
Well, her husband owns the
Zoom account.
the Zoom account, so she's almost always on. Mostly, though, I'm having my evening wine.
I'm having my fizzy water. So I have this presentation all planned out. I thought, what I would really rather do is just show you how to virtually create these Mobiuses in my computer software and how I fit them in stones that I scan and all this other stuff I do, I can just ignore.
I did 2 programs for this event, and the longer one, the one about the women sculptors, I've been working on that for almost a year.
Oh.
And
Wow.
of course, it wasn't anywhere near ready. I was still putting it together yesterday morning, but it turned out okay. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. I thought I saw you on there for a little bit.
I caught the last 10 minutes just before Q&A or 5 minutes before Q&A. So, hey, it's Aaron and Barbara.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Barbara, how you doing, Ramey?
And the Cyra unit.
Jane.
Hey, Smiley. Is she gonna smile? Oh.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Hi, Joan. Thank you for the presentation this afternoon.
Hi, Patty. You're welcome. It was, I was really nervous, but people were friendly.
We haven't eaten anybody for a really long time, especially not on Zoom.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
This is Sherry. Hello.
Hi,
This
Terry.
is Sherry Perry. Hi.
Hey, Jamie, where are you at physically? Because I don't think I know Jamie. Taryn?
Jamie. Who's Jamie? Oh,
And my screen is in the lower right-hand corner. Just turn in. Can you hear us, Jamie?
Oh yeah, it's Jaime.
Jaime. Ah, there you go.
hi.
That's
Sorry.
okay all the time. That's okay.
We're just not Italian enough, or something.
Yeah, it's a Spanish name. Yeah.
That is true. It is. I don't know why I didn't go there in the first place.
Yeah.
I have friends named Jorge and
Yeah.
Juan.
I've learned to answer to Jamie.
Oh.
That's okay. No biggie.
So where are you located?
I'm in San Francisco.
Oh, I'm in Chimacum, Washington.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, up by Port Townsend. Cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I like
What
San
brings
Francisco.
you to our earlobes and computer screens? Honey? It's not like San Francisco is next door to many of us.
No.
So I was wondering, how many of you got a chance to read that additional comment I put on the bottom of the event? Was it-
Oh, I did.
I read it.
Yeah, I did. The intro, yeah.
Okay.
So, I was carving until 4 minutes ago, so.
You look awful
Know what I
kind
was
to been
supposed to do?
carving.
Hey, Ken.
Everything looks worse than it did when I started, so it's moving forward
There
rapidly.
you go.
I think the hardest thing for me about Zoom is the delay. You never know if you're delayed a second or maybe more or less. Laughs always come at inappropriate moments.
Hey, all right.
Uh-oh, John Thompson, you got a nice.
Oh, no. Oh, dear,
Let's
here's
Kim.
trouble. And but it's only the beard, so we don't, oh, no, I'm wrong.
We just
Be
thought John,
careful.
we just thought John Thompson's beard showed up for the presentation.
Left the rest of me at the studio.
Yeah, really.
How are you guys?
Doing good.
Yeah. Good. Good. It's good knowing you're out there.
Yes, it is.
John, today would have been a good day down on Settle Lake.
It would have. It was a good day in Missoula.
Ah,
Yeah. So in our area, this is the first cloudy, rainy day in what, 2 weeks
Oh.
in the Seattle area?
Day really with rain in almost a month and a half. We haven't really had rain. It's been cloudy. Who knew?
Yeah, we haven't had any.
Yeah. So John, there's this big piece of Carrara marble in my driveway I want to talk to you about.
It's supposed to be on wheels coming out here.
Yeah, there's this COVID stuff getting in the way though.
I understand. I understand. You guys are all staying healthy though, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. No, I figure it'll get here eventually. You haven't made it to Texas either, have you?
No.
No.
That's gonna be a heck of a
Can
road
I
trip.
increase the
So-
volume on this thing?
So how many of you have friends who have had COVID or have kind of worries big time?
I have.
no.
Yep. Yep. I know of 2 that died. So
Ooh.
Oh,
I was going to teach with at Holden Village this summer over in Ireland. Oh man, there's an ugly one.
Mhm.
How's Aaron?
Aaron, behave. Or not. It's okay.
There you go.
Your ringtone sounds like Avon
Hey.
call.
Wasn't directed to anyone but John.
Sure, I'm sure.
Right.
Hey, Carl.
Yes.
There's a slight change in plans, and I'm going to be your moderator for the evening.
Oh boy.
So when you're ready to start, let me know, and I'll give you a short introduction.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't.
So I got, the typical, you work on your presentation. You said this would be so much more fun if I just like show people how to create Mobiuses in the CAD software and how I put stuff in the stone. That way I wouldn't have to do anything. I could just for 10 or 15 minutes play on the computer, which is what, I do with 99% of my time these days.
we'll share the dip.
But I don't know, I thought about maybe we could just cancel the presentation and I'll just do a CAD presentation. Completely
Hey, Marcos.
No.
Good to see you.
presentation, so that's what you're gonna do.
So are you filling in for Ellie?
I know that.
Yeah.
Hello, people.
It's gonna show up or not, but I didn't have one to do today, so I figured I would do this one.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
But I didn't sign in correctly, so I can't mute people, which is the great power of the moderator. So I'm going to ask everybody mute yourselves during the presentation, because if you make any sounds, then the camera will switch to you, and we'll all be looking at you instead of Carl, and it'll drown out his voice. And so since we're recording it, we're going to try to keep all the noise down. And then when Carl is finished, we'll have a Q&A, and then you can unmute yourself and ask a question. But try to keep yourself muted if you're not the person talking.
Yeah, but have you ever listened to Carl talk?
I couldn't say that.
Thanks, John.
Can we use the chat function to heckle him?
Yeah.
Some of the best hecklers out there. Hey, does everybody know how to use the chat, or does anybody want to use the chat?
Maybe.
Okay. So, Cyra, you want to tell them how to do it, or how it's best done?
Yeah, if you roll your mouse on the screen, you get a little pop-up at the bottom that has like reactions, record, share screen, and chat. If you click chat, it'll bring up a chat window on the side. You can chat to everyone, like you can see I just chatted to everybody. Or at the bottom, there's a little clicky box that says everyone, and if you click that, you can click a specific person, and then you can have private conversations, and that's where you probably want to heckle the most.
Yeah.
So that no one else can see how mean you're being.
Yeah. So in the background, you can say, you know, nasty things about me while I'm talking.
I know who I'm heckling.
He's leaving.
It's John.
Hey, how are you?
John,
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I'm always good. I get better every day.
Good to see your face.
Yeah,
Your smiley face.
yeah, there you go. It's,
I
it's
want to
just,
know where.
Hey, I just gotta tell you guys that
Raphael.
this is so needed
Prince.
for me, and this is
No.
awesome. And like, thank you for doing this. That's great, and yeah,
yes.
thank you.
Yes,
I'd
it
like to know
is.
where I would like to know where John's better half is.
Sitting on it. She left me unsupervised. She's over on baby watch. We have a new granddaughter being born tomorrow in Billings.
We're not talking about that better half.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
that's
stone-
he's supposed to know how to do this. He's supposed to do it. But you know what? I don't care. I saw him today.
So earlier I asked how many people had had a chance to read the comment I posted ahead of time to kind of give some background. And I got a pretty high show of hands. Okay.
I did.
Okay, good. So not too rambly, I hope. And helpful.
That's good.
Good. Cyra, what's the right amount of time to wait before we start?
I mean, it's after 6. So I'd say it's like, you know, people come in like a bag of popcorn, right? You hear lots of dings and lots of people are coming in. Wait until it just like, give it like when there's about 30 seconds between one person coming in and the next, then go ahead and start.
Okay, good. And I'm going to do a screen share. I've got a PowerPoint that I put together. It's got photos and stuff and ideas. So.
Okay, cool. So before, let's see. Sherry and Aaron, please mute yourselves.
I am muted.
And Marcos and Gudrun, no, you're not, Sherry.
Oh, what happened? Oh, thank you.
Everybody wants to harass John Thompson.
They can do so in the chat room or afterwards. All right, I'm going to mute myself. Carl, take it away.
All right. Well, thank you all for taking time to join this evening. I have prepared a PowerPoint that's going to go through it. I'd like to try, if it really, okay, there's going to be Q&A afterwards, but if there's something that just really gets your attention, chat at the chat window, or maybe just wave your hands and say, no, you went too fast, go back, and maybe we can stop it. As John Thompson pointed out a few seconds ago, I do tend to talk a lot. And so I don't want to go too long if I don't have to or can't. And so I'll breeze through a lot of stuff. And with the idea that we can go back and look at stuff that you got questions on and pick up the details if, as we want. And there's just a lot of stuff I didn't put in that I'd love to talk about.
The White House Task Force is warning authorities in 9 cities in the Central Valley of California that they're at risk.
Matt, mute yourself, Matt.
Are we muted, or can I, or do I talk?
You have to mute yourself.
Okay.
There he is. He's done. Okay. Good. So I'm going to share my. Okay. I guess if there's any questions, chat them at me. I'm looking. Okay. There's nothing there. And we'll go from here. Let's see what happens. Host disabled participant sharing. Cyra, I can't share my screen because there's no host to share.
I got a notification that I'm no longer the host and Ellie is now.
Oh,
so
hi,
I can't fix it.
I guess I can't join without hosting. You want to share the screen? What's it worth to you?
I'll be nice. I have a piece of honeycomb calcite that I'll give you.
Score. We're on. Okay, you're on.
Good. Okay, so let's see what happens. There we go. So this Better Future for All stuff, it came about after a little bit of a journey about 3 years ago. So this is the result of Wakey's work, my daughter, the logo and the stuff. And what I'm going to talk about are the concepts that got me from what's the Social Progress Index to a piece of sculpture on the right, and just some of the ideas that drove it and still drive me to do certain kinds of work in sculpture. And I invite any of you, if this stuff interests you, to also think about how you can raise people's awareness of the Social Progress Index and how we all should be participating and creating a better future for all of us. So that's where I'm going to start tonight and see what happens from it. So the 3 things that I want you to take away from the Social Progress Index are basic human needs, foundations of well-being, and opportunity. Those things drive the index, and they were what started me down the path, because I'm a policy guy before I got into doing this. Okay, next slide, please. So the words and concepts matter. So one of the things I did was I checked out the SPI, the Social Progress Index. Is it real or flaky? And I needed to understand the theoretical and statistical basis of the SPI. And the short story is, it's real, it's good, it's used by the EU, India, Costa Rica, Australia, and just about everywhere as part of their governmental policy-making process. Unlike in the US, where the social progress folks, social progress imperative folks, did an SPI for the US. And if you go to their website, socialprogress.org, you can find the US one. And if you want, I can post it later in the chat. But one of the things that I recognized, and I talked to them about, was like, you got 2 words in the name of your project that half of America has trouble with, social and progress. So what I talked to them about was, I want to use Better Future for All, but it's really the social progress in a different cloak. And so this is where the BFFA comes from. And what I'm looking at, to me, is a big idea, bigger than I can handle. And so I need to work with others. And so I invite anybody, if they're interested, to talk about it, great, or take it further. I'm willing to talk about it offline, not here. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to explore was what we can do 2D stuff, icons. When I first contacted them, they had really like stock icons and basic stuff, and I thought, well, we could do that, or maybe we should do some words like that, this word jumble you see on the screen. But what I really wanted to end up doing was symbolizing their ideas, like a peace symbol or American flag pin, and, you know, jewelry, posters, symbols. And so I've been doing some of that work. And then I want to create sculpture that it evokes the ideas that are behind this. You know, the trilogy of flourishing is one of the ones that came to mind. I want to do forms and elements that stand in for concepts. And then, you know, if we can do representational stuff, create the muse of the superheroes of a better future for all, so that we, like in classical sculpture, have some things that we can relate to. I don't, I'll maybe one day get there, but right now I'm not on that one. So this is the kind of the first synthesis that Wakey and I did, which is we took all of the ideas, created some icons for the basic human needs, foundations of well-being, and see that they represent the concepts behind it. And then went ahead and, you know, synthesized them into another set of icons. It's an iterative process, and it was interesting. I learned a lot. And then I talked to another fellow named Michael Gardner. Some of you may know him. He's a wonderful tattoo artist. And I said, Michael, let's talk about BFFA. And so about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I talked about the social progress stuff and what I was trying to do. And he did a sketch, and then we came up with a, you know, he did a, what I call a wonderful graphic. And then I turned it into the little thing at the lower. It could be kind of a 2D and a half. If each of the little blue things represent an aspect of the social progress indicators, and the three elements of the human needs and foundations of well-being and opportunity. So it was a fun exercise to look at from another person's perspective. And then we tried to synthesize them, put them together into some you know, graphic elements. Can you group them together? So Michael took these and created the flourishing, the flowers, the petal stuff. So he worked with Wakey's graphics. He did some mods and worked with Wakey on them, and came up with this. And then talking about it with them, the social progress folks every year they do a What Works conference, in which they bring all the people who are using the social progress together in one place, and they talk about it. And I thought it'd be cool to do something at the Iceland. It was in Iceland last year, and I thought it'd be cool to do something. So I reached out to Maya's husband, Che, who's a robotics guy, and we talked about some ideas. And one of the ideas he came up with that was really, I thought, really cool, was to geometric group them like this, and to create columns that rose to represent the values for a particular country's index. So as you tapped on a map of a country, these petals would rise and fall. And we talked about it, and talked about doing his robotics team do this as one of their projects and show it off at Iceland. That didn't go through because the folks at Iceland didn't think it'd be a right place for it, but we went through it. It was a really good exercise to hear what Che had to say, and how data could be made visible and in three-dimensional. So it was a good exercise. It was fun. And this is my first attempt at trying to take the idea that you're measuring flourishing and creating flourishing. And so I came up with these three crescents, and in the middle would be the results of flourishing, and the base. And I could never figure out what to put in the middle, what represents flourishing. And it still sits there today, not going anywhere, but it was a start. And it was at Subtle Lake. Sorry. I was pulling some stones out of Steve Sandry's stone pile, basalt chunks. And we stood them up, and I said, wow, these are really cool. They make a nice composition. They make a nice trilogy, like the trilogy of flourishing. And so, you know, one's for basic human needs, one's for foundations of well-being, and one's opportunity. You can figure out which one works for you on that. But Steve and I spent about 2 weeks kind of arranging them, and which end up and polishing them, and created the composition. And this is where they are right now. And I added the little couple dancing as a flourish. Steve approved. Him and I argued a lot about stuff and how it should be arranged, but it came out to be a really interesting and good project. And it's right now sitting waiting to get all the bases buried. So the other approach or thing I was on that was how do you fuse these three ideas into a physical object that can represent them? So a little petal bowl, a ribbon Mobius, and then a volumetric Mobius. For me, the three lobes are these three items. They intertwine and form a fabric that creates capacity for society and people to flourish. So this is how the Mobius idea started to develop and kind of came to its fruition. And these are the two sculptures that result from that. The one on the left you may have seen at the volunteer park a couple of years ago. And then the one on the right is a newer version of it. And it's the ribbon Mobius. And one of the things about the transparent Auvinen is it adds the idea that the rules in society that determine how the capacity is developed should be transparent. So that was why I like the transparent stone. So that's where that one came from. The ribbon idea found itself in the cross when I was doing the cross project. There was two Mobius ribbons on the cross interwoven to create that. One goes through the arms and one goes through the heart of the cross. And I thought it was, the heart of the cross does the elements of the society. The other one is the ribbon that it represents the capacity, and the flourishing is the sphere, and it's emerging from that. So that's how that came to be. And it needs to be polished up and finished. It's not complete. And then when I was at Subtle Lake, Deborah Wilson and I were talking about Mobiuses, and she says, "Oh, well, you should look at the jade carvers out of New Zealand. They all do Mobiuses." And sure enough, Neil Brown does forms, and Don Salt's the one that on the most right that I started noodling off of. And so I did some Mobius variations. I did a ribbon. I did some clay. These are all clay maquettes up top, and essentially the purplish brown one is what started it all. I did the brass ones on the right are essentially a four-sided Mobius that raceways twisted, and the 6 little balls in there represent 6 of the 12 elements that are in the Social Progress Index. As I'm playing with it, and then when you do anything in sculpture, you want to try different scales and stuff. So on the bottom are 3D printed mock-ups of different versions of the Mobius, in which I tried different things to capture the idea of the Mobius. So for example, the one with the open ribs on the right, those each of the components, the basic human needs, the foundations of well-being and opportunity, has detailed data. So for example, in basic human needs, it's health and nutrition, shelter, safety, and sanitation. And so those are the 4 bands that run through, and each of them have 4 items. And so the idea was to show how they try looking at how they interweave. And one is open, you can see one of them is closed. So again, CAD work with 3D printing to prove out how it works and see how they scale, to find problems and concerns. Taking the Mobius further, Wakey went back and did a Mobius graphic, which you saw in the opening. And I wanted to, should lay the words on there, and she quickly vetoed that. I thought it looked ugly. But that didn't stop me in the lower right from actually creating one and embossing the words on it. In fact, when I talk to strangers about this, or neighbors or friends, and I talk about the Mobius, oh, that's really cool. And when I show them the one with the words, everyone goes, "Oh, can I have the one with the words? Because it'll help me remember." So art be damned, if people remember it, I'm happy. Lower left is showing if you're going to do jewelry, how do I do the hangers? I tried some prototypes, CAD stuff. And these are the results. This is Wakey's jewelry cards. These are, the fittings are there, and these are the different variations. The brass one in the middle with the filigree was inspired by the fact that there's so many data. There are actually 53 data items in the Social Progress Index when you get down to the really detailed stuff. And so I thought the filigree represent them all interwoven, and tried that as a design. There's earrings, a pendant. There's a wood version that Wakey did, laser cut earrings and a pendant. So this is stuff of what we've done. See what else we got coming here. Okay, so this is sculpture in process. This is calcite. This is the full form Mobius. It's about 8 inches tall, and it's just needs sanded now. This is about a inch high 3D print of a master for a casting. I would love to do it in glass, and I talked to Brian Berman about doing it, and maybe when there's not COVID, it'll happen. Because it's gonna, he says I'll probably end up in Czechoslovakia. That's where he thought it would go. And then this is another piece in progress. That's on the left, Adam Dabrowski's feet. He helped me rough this out. And on the right is, it's about 24 inches, 25 inches. And we'll spend sometime the next year, I'll finish it up. And that's where I am. So thanks for the journey. And I think it's, any questions now? Unmute yourself and ask, or ask me, wait a second. Okay. Did I go too fast, too slow, just right? Any other questions? I got
Where can
lots
you buy a necklace? Those are really cool.
Oh, thank you.
You know, Carl, you talked to me off and on over the years about this, but I hadn't really understand the full range of how these developed. So this is really a great presentation to see, you know, how you deal with the concepts and where you've gone on it, and you know, to see that you've got a lot of basis for, you know, going further and seeing how it develops. It's really very interesting.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Plus, technically, I'm really interested in how thin you get some of those stone carvings so they're very translucent. That's really beautifully done.
Well, thank you. So those of us who are olivine fanatics here in the Northwest know that when you get olivine down to about 1/8 of an inch, it starts turning translucent. And then it's just being careful. And so you can take any piece of olivine and do that. Well, not any, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of the olivine out here. And calcite is just—
But the calcite too.
Well, that's by its nature. You can take a 6-inch piece and put a flashlight on it, and it looks gorgeous. So, yeah. Any other questions, thoughts?
I thought it was, you split into 4. I didn't understand technically how you could possibly have done that, but I thought they were just beautiful. It was the striping of the, it followed the form. The stripes ended up, of course, following the form around.
Right.
And explicating the form.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
A piece of CAD software. I mean, the actual, I had the Mobius done electronically. I drew it and created it. And then I just went back and technically I sliced it into bits and pieces and came up with the number of stripes. It's actually interesting. I tried multiple stripes and there's some geometry that happens. It's really interesting. One of the things, if I can, I'm looking quickly.
He's gone.
Yeah, so one of the things that, let's see if you can hold this camera up. So see how those stripes go around the edge?
Yeah.
That going around the edge was a heck of a lot of work to get right.
I bet.
And then the 2 inner bands are self-contained and are contained by the 2 outer. This is just things I've learned about the geometry. Oh, wait a second. I have a pop quiz for everybody. This is one of those pop quizzes. See if I can do this. Are these the same or different?
Different.
Let's see, let me do it.
Different for sure.
And
I can't see them.
Yeah.
Not cut all the way around, yeah.
And be different.
Among other things.
So
but
99% of the time, the people I've talked to say, oh, they're both the same on first glance. And then,
yeah, the edges.
Yeah, so this was one of those things, why you do prototypes, you build them and try them. So
we got it right. Do we get a prize?
Leave you alone for a week, John.
You're gonna leave me alone with John for a week? Please, no.
Why did you go there on that one?
Creates a picture you don't want to know. Carl, I want to thank you because I thought I was the only one that processed things quite the way you did. I often will come up with an idea of something pretty nebulous, a concept that I want to express in sculpture. And listening to you walk through that process oddly reminds me of the agony and the ecstasy, where they talk about, they bring Michelangelo's letters and writings together and talk about his process of wanting to express a particular idea. This has been going on forever. And, you know, I'm going to put it out here so that the people who go, oh my God, this is not art, please remember, Michelangelo would be working with angle grinders today, and if he knew about CAD, he'd be using that too. If you have too many ideas to get out, you want to use whatever tools will get the project done. Thank you, Carl. And I'm not saying this because I've always been a fan, because I'm not. I'm saying, it's okay. I'm saying this because when I really think about all the ideas in the stone that I have piled up in my world, I need other tools to be able to help me. I understand that I have more time behind me than ahead of me. And I have so much I want to say. Thank you, Carl. Thank you for helping me to see a process through to the finish.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to ask Wakey a question if I can. So you translated this into jewelry, right? What were challenges for you in your medium as opposed to his?
So is Wakey on?
Yeah, but she's muted.
Unmute.
Hold on, geez. Okay, I have to find the unmute button.
I have a question, or if I'm not interrupting.
Wakey.
For Carl or for me?
Wakey, go ahead.
Wakey for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's always fun. I'm by nature a vector graphic designer. I like to think of things in sharp lines and clean angles. And deciding to turn his three-dimensional stuff into something that could be t-shirt designs, could be laser etched on things, could be made flat, was a lot of choosing which lines were most important to him and making sure that those flowed through. It's taken a couple years, but Dad and I work pretty well together in terms of like kind of bouncing ideas off each other and iterating until you have the perfect thing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, cool, thanks.
I have a question, if I may. I'm not interrupting.
Go ahead.
Right on me.
What role does the 3D modeling play? You know, you make those you make samples of them with. So not everything is carved. You make any prototypes before you finish the jewelry. You do the 3D modeling, for example, on a machine, and then those are models for finished work.
So the process is on the computer, I'll do a 3D model.
Yeah.
And, you know, look at it, render it, make myself happy with it. And then I'll send it off to a 3D print shop and get it printed. Or if it's big enough, I now actually Wakey and I built a 3D printer. And we now can do really big ones. And that 20-inch one was one of the first prints we got off of the printer.
How is that for fine detail, by the way? How is it held up for finer detail?
Hey, Matt Auvinen's online. Matt, unmute yourself, Matt. Tell me how the detail on that Venus head's working for you.
Oh, you mean the 3D print?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wonderful. There's always going to be some alteration with the medium, and it's not as smooth as, say, a plaster or maybe the original. But what I've also noticed is that the angle that the object is printed at makes a difference in the fidelity of the form.
I mean, that answer your question?
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't really sure, you know, when you do the, at what stage do you do the 3D printing? You have some basic sketches, you have some models, and then they go to be 3D printed, and then from that, you base the finished work, you just scale it up or down.
Well, these guys were right off the metal press. I mean, these guys were printed directly.
I see. Oh, metal.
Yeah, this is steel, and the drawing that you saw in the presentation that looked like this was essentially the model that was used to print this.
I see. I see. Okay, got it. I got it.
So one question I have.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Hello, Carl. So in no times that you actually model something concretely with a piece of clay, it was all on computer, right? Oh, you did one.
I did lots. I mean, there's
okay.
He has used every medium he could get his hands on to try to come up with a version of this. And I feel like the digital stuff is just another tool in like the chest of clay and plastic and stone and
yeah.
Yeah, whatever gets the job done, I really want to get to the end product and know what it looks like, how it works, and I'll use the best tool to get there quickest. And that's usually my thing. You know, when you have 3D models, you play a lot and you do things that I can. Oh, I can do this. I can waste 2 days doing this. So, and this is the same. It's the same sort of Mobius that. This is derived from the Mobius work I was doing earlier. And it is 3-sided. It's got all 12 of the elements of the social progress index. I don't know, maybe it's a fidget, maybe it's something to play with, but it's the kind of stuff that I try.
That's wonderful.
So Matt, can you talk more about the perspective and the angle at which it's printed?
Carl helped me out and he did a large head, and you know, like a person stands up and is vertical, and so you would typically print something that's vertical, so all the lines are like if you took a head and you sunk it into a tub of water, the lines that are on the face as it's sinking down, they're all going horizontal to the form.
Yeah, Dad, do you have pictures of he posted it on his Facebook. It's really actually 100% my aesthetic. It's really gorgeous because he used different colors of plastic. So you can see the water line of the angle that he printed it at based on when the plastic changes color. And
see if I can find something here.
Yeah, so if you don't mind me stealing the thunder, Matt, because I think what they were asking was, in 3D printing, why does it matter what angle it's at? And that's just gravity. Because if you print, like you think of like a donut shape, if you print it flat, you're going to get a truer print because gravity is pulling it down into that flat shape. Whereas if you tilted it up and tried to do it like that, you're going to get parts in the middle of the donut that drip, that are trying to escape. They don't want to hold a circular shape over thin air. And so 3D printers will put bridges in there, like basically little struts that you break off after the print with like a little hammer or a pair of snips to keep that dripping from happening. But they can't 100% prevent that dripping from happening. And so if you're printing like something that's got a hole in the middle, you want to print it horizontal rather than vertical to keep shape fidelity.
Gotcha. Sure, but as an example, if you take a donut, you mentioned a donut. If you print a donut horizontally or vertically, the area where the printing ends, like at the very apex of the arc, it's gonna look slightly different. It's not going to be perfectly smooth. That by the nature of the printing, it's printing in layers, and every one of those layers has a little step, has a little groove in between them. And so what happened on the head was that there was curls of hair, and those curls of hair were printed at a diagonal as opposed to, say, vertical or horizontal. And so some of the original was no longer discernible because of the accumulation of those steps or those grooves in between each one of the layers as it's printed.
I'm actually searching through Dad's Facebook now, trying to find the post.
Did it come up?
I mean, I don't. There it is. Yes. Haha. Hold on. Let me see if I can screen share. Does anyone mind if I
I've got it, Wakey.
Sharing.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah, it's up. Oh, yeah.
So these were just leftover filaments I had. I had green, white, gray, and blue, and when the spool ran out, I put the next color in, and yeah.
Yeah, it ended up beautiful. It's a beautiful print in itself. I think what I was only addressing was that orientation makes a difference on, say, if you're looking at it for fidelity between, say, 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. When you start looking that close, then the orientation becomes a bit of an issue.
Yeah. So yeah. So there we go. I don't know if that's been helpful or not. Any other questions? I've got, nobody's asked me about CNC work, which is good. Let's move on.
I was wondering about that, Carl. Well, let's hear it.
What do you need to know?
Do you know what would be cool is to have a video of the process. Do you have anything that you could show?
Yeah, right now? Actually, if probably.
So you have that time lapse we made?
Yeah, something like that you did, that you showed me.
You mean like one of the early ones I did?
Just whatever, it doesn't matter when it was done, just so people can see.
Oh, okay.
I thought you had time lapse on the bowls that we did for.
I'm trying to go least route of whatever here to quickly get something up for people. Anybody on YouTube know how to get to your own personal library quickly?
On your icon.
Put your own name in the search.
Yeah.
So I'm at my personal YouTube. I got a posting on YouTube. I could just find where I did it. Sorry. On the way.
In the meantime, Wakey sent out a statement saying, tell them where you can get the jewelry. I saw that. No one's answered.
Oh, yes.
What?
Oh, I never saw. It'd be from her or me. Well, actually, I prefer you get it through her website, not mine, because I don't have to do it.
No, you're getting your own website, Dad. I love you, but I run my own business, which I'm with your nonprofit.
Okay, so the answer is you can get it from me if you want it.
Yeah.
And then.
So will you post the website address, or did you already post it?
My website for selling it's not there. You just personally contact me and we can talk about it.
Oh, okay.
These are all prototypes I showed, and I haven't gone into mass production. In fact, right now they're just all one-offs. So
Mass production is happening this next Wednesday at your dining room table.
yeah, but that's for the plastic and wood ones you did, right?
Yeah, for the plastic and wood, not the metal.
Yeah, the metal ones are all still protos. Okay. Okay, I'm still fumbling on YouTube.
Carl, if you're on the YouTube page, you should have a little, in the top right corner, there should be a little picture of you, and you click it and click your channel, which is the first option.
Oh, Cyra, you're wonderful.
do that, then it brings up another page, but you have to go to the left-hand navigation column and choose your videos.
Got that. Okay. Okay, so now I got to do a screen share, right?
Yep.
Coming at you. Okay, everybody see that?
Yes.
Yep.
It's marble, so it'll be really impressive how fast it goes.
So this is about 2 years old or 3 years old. It's one of my early ones.
Oh, it's the kitten.
That is so awesome. Oh, man.
This is marble, isn't it?
Yes, it's marble.
It's curved.
How big is that?
It's
How big was the
small.
piece?
It's what, like
4 inches, 5 inches.
and that was what? How many days? How many hours? Time?
Oh. Okay. You still there?
Yeah, we're here. Yeah.
Okay, so this is Auvinen. This is the double ribbon one. This is a 50 millimeter wheel, and it's moving very slowly. So this will give you an idea of what I call the real world. And it's basically just chewing it out. And this, I believe this guy was doing 3 millimeter steps. So it's a step down. And it's not a time lapse, and it's boring, but there it is. Is this helpful?
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. How long did that piece take?
About 150 hours.
Wow.
That's it. Huh?
Yes, well, maybe a little more than that. It was spread over quite a few days. Yeah, you do different tool runs.
So,
go ahead.
What is the biggest dimension you can do, actually, Carl, on this CNC?
I have 2 CNCs. One I can do a 4 foot by 4 foot by 12 inch, and the other one I can do with this rotary axis you're seeing here, about 11 inches by 18 inches, 11 inches around by 18 inches long.
Wow.
That's so cool.
I have a job for you, I think.
And Deborah, no, this isn't Deborah's, is it?
This is Jocelyn.
No, it's not. This is Bruce Brookler's. This is Jade.
Oh, yeah.
This is a time lapse of cutting 2 jade turtles.
No way.
Yeah, you see it got dark there? It's because it was overnight. And you also notice the background on the wood block there, these little brass. Oh, and here's Ken's. One of the things I did when I got the CNC going was I wanted to try to learn how to do different stones. So this is snowflake obsidian.
Right.
And Deborah's was, there was jade, snowflake obsidian, olivine, marble. Just try to understand how the stone cuts, what tools are needed to cut it.
Yeah, and he's kind of downplaying actually how much of his mental effort goes into this, because even trained machinists think he is crazy. This is something where it's not like you just Google the speeds and feeds on a piece of stone. Like, stone is not metal. There's nowhere out there on the internet. He has to figure it out by trial and error.
Yep.
Right.
And part of what I offered anybody in the Oak Association who wants to do this, I'll teach them. So 3D mesh, let's see, this is one of those okay.
Right.
So, that cat was scanned from a clay maquette. This is the 3D mesh model that was used. And this is using an iPhone taking pictures.
Nice.
And this is the same cat trimmed up before I cut it. This is what, 2017. And this was from the clay original. So that's about it. So is this helpful?
This is incredible.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think that one thing that I think is the best about this is you started with a concept, and I loved how you told the whole story, how it started from your ideas and they wove together and collaboration. It's the whole artistic process, and it was so thorough. Thank you. Will you come teach for me? I have to teach high school. You did such a good job.
Who's Amy?
Really good with kids.
Amy, so I have a question, Carl. You said you teach anybody. Do you homeschool? Do you come to our houses?
Yeah.
I have beer.
Oh, now he's getting serious. Thank you, John.
This is incredible. Thank you. And
is.
Wakey, thank you also. I think that several of us are very serious about the jewelry, the small pendants and jewelry though, Carl. Okay. So that might be something that, I mean, I don't know, raise your hand if you're interested, kind of a thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
so one of the things we can do at this symposium is let's just set up a time where we all get back together and we play jewelry show and tell.
That's a good idea.
So LA, is that, how do I set up a Zoom show for everybody here? Or how do we do that? Can we do this through the website? Or Cyra? Oh, wait,
Cyra's the host here.
Well, Carl, just start a thread. Just start a discussion thread somewhere with pictures of the jewelry and prices, and we can just order from you.
Yeah,
right?
And I'll assemble some samples of the wood and the acrylic, because those are, he's not doing them justice. They're really cool looking too. So yeah, that's because those will be assembled in a couple days.
Wonderful.
Well, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in feedback on the specific jewelry, because to me they're still in prototype and early design stages. Wanting to know from each of you what resonates, what works, what did the concept make it, or is it hokey, or it doesn't really matter. You love it and that's it. But I'm curious.
That would be perfect in the if you did a forum for it, then we could give input. You could like do A, B, C, D kind of a thing, and people could give you different feedback on it that way.
We could put it on one as the t-shirts, right? We should change the t-shirts to like shopping forum or.
Oh, it's okay. That's an implementation. One last thing before I go, which is I have 2 CNCs. In the market, this is maybe for everybody. In the marketplace, robotic arms are now selling used for $10,000. A robotic arm that can do a 3 to 6 foot reach and carry a full spindle that can just do about anything. So I paid $10,000 for my first CNC. I'm going to be selling my CNC to get a robot arm sometime in the next year because it's a trade-off. So if anybody wants to buy a used CNC that does stone, it comes complete with instructions.
I think I'm going to stay an organic 3D printer myself. Just way beyond me.
So where are we left about seeing the jewelry and ordering a piece of stone or metal jewelry?
There'll be a discussion. I'll set up a discussion.
And how will I know about that?
I mean, Cyra, how will she know?
Okay.
So 2 things for that. One, Carl, when you start a thread in wherever you decide to put that, which maybe what are you working on now? That would be a good category to put that thread in.
Okay.
There's a poll option that you can put the pictures and have people vote on which one is their favorite. And so you can gather data that way.
Oh, thank you.
Christine,
Yes.
we're talking about just creating a new thread in the forum. So just as you browse around, you'll find it. Yeah.
I have a suggestion. A lot of us seniors have necks that can't handle a heavy or stone or metal piece. If you have any indication of which ones are light enough that I could wear it all day, that would really help.
Plastic?
No, not plastic.
You would not believe. Okay, so his first prototypes were solid. They didn't have those holes or the pretty designs, and they weighed a ton. They were just
I can't do that. And I
Yeah,
get, I want one, I want to wear one. Yeah, and
exactly. So we made sure the next round had like good aeration.
So are we done with questions? Should we move on to something else?
Well, Carl, I wanted to go back to what Amy said. What you did and were showing in all the development, that is so worth having in some kind of a format for sharing. Having taught at the high school level as a substitute just this last year, that would have mesmerized some of the kids in some of the classrooms I was in. And it was just fascinating. And I think that whole aspect of where they can go excites them that they will go further. So please don't leave that as not something that gets pursued. And when Che gets back in this, I know he's probably want to grab onto that to share with the robotics people, because that's his forte and does so much. But it really, I think, would hit so many kids that you don't know it hits, and they go on and do so much more. So thanks, and think about it.
And Carl, the meaning behind what you captured is exactly what we're going through. I mean, all of us, and especially my little ones, my high school kids. We're going through all of it here in the Central Valley of California. We're lower socioeconomic, so exactly what you're talking about. Your message is it's very relevant. Do you have a nonprofit website yet? Is that?
Yeah, that's what we're talking. It's already set up. It's bffa.org.
Okay.
The Social Progress Index is something high school kids can learn about, and
Right.
it's very real. This morning I sat in a conference call where the academics from Australia, a finance minister from India, and the health minister from, I can't remember the other country, were talking about how they use the Social Progress Index to show where the counties or regions were going to be most hit or not hit, and having them work together. So some of the governments really are using it, and it's pretty inspiring. So if you want kids to see that it's not just fluff, that you can make policy, you can collect good data, this is a really nice project and have an impact on the world.
I just think, Carl, that it is just so wonderful that you are doing this, especially in this time of COVID, when there's so much divisiveness in our country, that you're doing something positive. And I think for all of us, that's just so important right now, to try to make a difference, a positive difference in the world. And I just really commend you and Wakey for doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I see Steve Sandry in my corner. Steve, did you see the part of the presentation where it showed the pieces that you and I argued over? Oh, he's not, he's muted. Unmute, Steve.
Unmute. We can't, Steve, unmute.
Here we go, sir. Here we go. There we go.
There you go.
I didn't see it, so.
Oh. I can get it for you if you'd like it.
I like it. I'd like it.
No, hold on.
It's been fun. I gotta go deep fry something in tequila. It's complicated.
Sounds good.
Good to see you, Wakey. Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, Wakey.
There you go, Steve.
Okay.
Can you see your lovely self?
Oh, yeah. I saw that. That's actually okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wondered if you had any comment, because we arm wrestled a lot about this when we were doing it.
Yeah.
And I was just curious if you had any thoughts.
None that are verbal. None. Oh, I tell you, you added the dancing couple, and which I think it's brilliant because it brings it down to the human sphere, and to me, it's just aesthetically this little correction of the elements to each other, you know.
Yeah.
And that if you drop the dancers down to wherever your ground plane winds up being, that would help.
Okay. All right. Just thought I'd ask.
I don't know if you ever considered actually incising some of the symbology on the stones. We were talking about that, but
Yeah, I think
did
you were really opposed to doing anything to the stone other than composing them, polishing them, making them beautiful, and making it really just be something you want to walk around. And it was fun working with you on that because it's not my style, and I learned a lot from you, and I would just love to do it again.
Okay, good. I gave away all my stone, man, but you know, you can find some more.
No, it's in my yard. You can come carve on it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my big response.
All right, Cyra, thank you.
Thank you all.
Everyone, and appreciate it.
Hi, Deborah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.